All right, guys, I hope you're doing well. Before we jump into this video, I just wanted to give you a quick update on where I've been for the past few weeks. So, my health has taken a bit of a turn, and one of the things that's been affected is my breathing. And that has made voiceovers very difficult for me to record. So please don't worry, I'm getting the right support about this, and obviously, I wouldn't be back if I wasn't ready. Now, what you might find is my voice sounds different or my breathing is a little different, and that's obviously because we're trying to figure out how best to get through whatever's going on with me. And obviously, I have a real job as well in real life in which I do meetings and presentations, and I had to figure out how to navigate those as well. So, I just wanted to give you that update because I feel like you guys deserve it. You've been waiting very patiently for not only this video, but all of my other videos. And yeah, my health is not playing ball. So I just wanted you guys to know that's where I've been. That's what's been going on. But more importantly, I'm in good spirits. So please don't worry. So with that being said, the first thing I want to say before we really get started with the video is thank you so much for subscribing, watching, and engaging with my videos. I'm so aware that you could spend your free time doing anything in the world, and the fact that you spend just a portion of your free time with me in my space is amazing. So thank you so much. I do not take it for granted. And you are all really the coolest YouTube community I could have had. So thank you so much. And finally, let's really get started with the Q&A. So, first of all, I got so many questions, and honestly, I can't answer every single question. So, I'm really sorry if I don't answer your question in this video. It was probably because I didn't feel like I had a good enough answer for you. Also, if the question felt a bit too personal, I'm not going to answer it. So, I'm really sorry about that. Secondly, because I got so many of the same question, I've kind of summarized them into one question in which I can answer you all. So hopefully that's all good with you guys, and let's finally get started with the very first question. What made you start your YouTube channel? So I used to have a Blue Sky account, and I just wanted to write a post about Zayn's high intimacy. And the post kept getting longer and longer to the point where I started writing an essay. And then I thought it would just be fun to do a video essay because I've always loved them. So when I put the video up on my channel, it wasn't me starting my YouTube channel. It was me making a video for my Blue Sky mutuals, and it took off. So I was really excited and really happy that people were enjoying that video, and I thought, okay, I'll do some more videos on how I interpret the other characters of the game. And they took off as well, and yeah, that's kind of how it all began, and now I'm 20,000 subscribers in, and I couldn't be happier. I just wish my health would stop being so silly, because it's typical that I would start a YouTube channel, see some success with it, meet all of you guys, and then my health would go, actually, let's try and pull you away from that mess. So yeah, that's how I started it though. So I had no intention of being a well-known figure within this community, but I'm here and I am, and I'm so grateful. All right, so next question. How did you first find out about Love and Deepspace? Are you a day one player, and what keeps you playing the game? So, well, that wasn't one question, that was a few, but I can definitely summarize that into one answer for you guys. So I've been playing Otome games for about 16 years now. It all began with Voltage Inc. games on the App Store, and some of you might recognize those games. I'm going to post a few screenshots of them here. But yeah, that was when my love affair with Otome games started, and I've been hooked ever since. So I've been playing Otome games on the PC, PS Vita. If some of you guys are old enough to remember when you could only get Otome games on the PS Vita, that was insane. And then eventually the Switch, and yeah, I've got a huge backlog of Otome games on my Switch and PC that I still need to play. So I've been in the space for a while. Now, I did play their previous game, Mr. Love Queen's Choice, and I did end up dropping it after a while because I just wasn't as invested in it. And that's the thing with gacha otomes in particular. I find that I'm much more suited to fully otome games that are just otome games with branches and storylines. That's my favorite thing. Love and Deepspace is the only gacha otome I've played where I have been invested 100% into every part of it, which is quite surprising. So the way I found out about Love and Deepspace was actually an ad that came up, and it was of Zayn, and it was a preview of his cozy afternoon card, and I thought it looked too good to be true. Then I saw that it had combat as well, and I thought, okay, that's definitely too good to be true. What's the catch with this game? And then I found out it was a gacha, and all of my questions were answered. So I pre-registered for the game because I thought if this is going to change the landscape of otome games, then I want to be part of that. And I pre-registered, and thankfully it lived up to the hype. And it was a great experience. And it won't be any surprise to you that what keeps me playing is the story. I love the story and the characters. I think they're really well fleshed out. And I love the MC in this game. I think she is miles ahead of a lot of MCs and a lot of previous Otome games I've played. And she feels like her own character with her own motivations, which I know sounds really strange, but I've played a lot of Otome games where the MC just doesn't feel like, you know, she is her own person, and that bothers me somewhat. So, yeah, I think what keeps me playing really is it's the way the characters are written. They both feed into tropes and subvert a lot of them. And, that keeps things so fresh. It keeps me on my toes. I don't know what to expect. Like, for example, with Zayn's new myth, I have no idea what to expect. I've got 10 different theories. It's why I can't do a video about this because I have so many theories, and it's why I don't do theory crafting videos really, because I just have too many theories because the story is both so open and so good at directing itself in certain ways and surprising us all the time. So, yeah, I just love the writing in this. It feels fresh. And yeah, that's what keeps me playing, really. And it won't be a surprise to you that the lore, I'm so in love with the lore, and it's very inspiring to me as a writer. Yeah, I guess that's what keeps me playing. I will end this question by saying one of the things I do say about this game is that it feels like the best elements of Otome games and the worst of gacha games. And I'm just going to leave that there. So thank you for that question, or those questions. Love that. Next question. What is your affection level with each love interest? So I've got Zayn at 186, Caleb at 123, Silas at 119, Xavier at 109, and Raphael at 108. So yeah, I do invest a lot in these guys, and naturally their affection levels go up because I'm often pulling for all of their cards, or some of their cards at least. So you can see from that obviously Zayn is my main. Caleb and Silas are second. I will always pull for those two in a multi-banner. And then Xavier and Raphael, I will pull for their myths for sure all the time. I don't mind getting them in multi-banners at all. And yeah, they're up there though. So yeah, that's all of my affection levels with each of the guys. How are you doing in the deep space trials? Oh boy. Okay, so the deep space trials. So as you can see, I've maxed out Zayn and Caleb's. I am currently making good progress with Xavier and Raphael's, and I am really stuck on Silas's. As you can see on the open orbits, I'm at 210 on the regular opens and 42 on the other one. I do find the combat in this game really unbalanced. I do think it's really unfair to people who are playing completely free or on a limited budget. I don't know how you guys are doing it. But yeah, major props to you if you're managing to get through all of these, or even just one of them, as a free-to-play player, because they are ridiculously difficult. I will say that. But yeah, that's how I'm doing overall. What was your favorite event story so far? Adventure Above the Clouds and Touring in Love. Those are my two favorite events so far. I loved them. And obviously, I'm going to say Zayn stories. I really loved both of those for Zayn. It felt like we got very close to Zayn in those. And I don't know. It just felt like there was a lot of progress within those event stories. And I feel like with a lot of event stories, if you guys aren't reading them, please do read them. There are a lot of things in them that really heighten the relationship with your love interest. And there are a lot of hints and I think a lot of foreshadowing sometimes in the event stories. And they're just really, really great pieces of information to have and to just feel, you know? I'm not making a lot of sense. But yeah, I think the event stories are great. If you're not reading them, please read them, at least for your chosen love interest, so you can understand them more and understand the relationship more. Because in all of Zayn's now, he's very open and very bold. Let's just say he's very bold, and I'm here for it. I am so here for it. But yeah, those are my two favorite event stories. Top 5 favorite cards in the game. So, this will be completely biased because obviously Zayn is my main and all of his cards are my favorite. So, I'm going to try and go through and talk about my favorite cards for each of the love interests. So, if I were to rank Zayn's as of right now, number 1 is Eternal Attachment. Nothing has ever beaten that. I think it is the perfect story. Second is Immediate Disorder. I'm in love with Immediate Disorder. I think it is clever. It's really clever and it hits all the right beats for Zayn's story. It tells us a lot and it foreshadows a lot and it makes sense. It definitely makes sense for Zayn. Third is Business Trip for obvious reasons. Fourth is Absolute Zeal for, again, obvious reasons. And fifth is Moonlit Dream, again, for obvious reasons. But I say obvious reasons for those three, but honestly, beyond the spice, they are really great cards within themselves, especially about the progress of Zayn and MC's relationship, but also Zayn's openness. And also MC and how she responds to Zayn and how he opens up to her. I really love seeing that dynamic play out. And in Business Trip, Absolute Zeal, and Moonlit Dream, we really see that. Moonlit Dream really holds a special place in my heart as well. I really love that one. So those are my top 5 Zayn cards. For Silas, Grassland Romance, Valley Dream Bloom, Magnum Opus, Alternative Darkborn, and Night of Secrecy. And I just want to say Grassland Romance and Valley Dream Bloom, they have the same feeling for me, but in kind of different ways. Valley Dream Bloom felt very melancholic and very sad, but also beautiful. There was something about Silas in that that made me feel, I don't know, it was a different side to Silas I feel like we saw. And yeah, I don't know, it was beautiful and yeah, I can't explain how I felt. Maybe a Silas main in the comments, you can explain how you felt, and hopefully you understand what I mean. But yeah, I felt a lot of things, and that's why it's my second favorite card. Grassland Romance is at the top because that's peak. Because of this one moment, I loved it. Look at the way Silas is so ready to burst, full of happiness. He can't contain that smile. That smile was him thinking just finally I'm like her lover, she's calling me hers. Like, oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then the other three, Magnum Opus, Alternative Darkborn, Night of Secrecy, again, the progression of Silas and MC's relationships, I think are perfect in those stories. So those are my top 5 Silas cards. Now, for the others, I don't have top 5s per se, but I definitely have favorites. So for Caleb, it's Hidden Waves and Exclusive Aftertaste. I love both of these cards so much. Exclusive Aftertaste has so much romantic tension between them. It's palpable. I was holding my breath a lot of the time during that because I was like, are they going to go there? Are they going to finally admit that they have romantic feelings for each other? Are they going to admit their relationship has changed? Is it all going to be out in the open? And it kind of culminates into Caleb realizing that he is not needed the same way that he's used to being needed by MC, but that doesn't mean he isn't wanted by her romantically. And I think the Kindled scene is great because Caleb doesn't push this. He knows that MC feels the same way because that tension is there between them and he sees it clearly. So by allowing himself to feel it and then tell MC, look, I'm going to wait until you're comfortable admitting the fact that our relationship has changed. Yeah, it's a great evolution of their relationship. I think it's like the first step into that romantic role. Essentially, I feel like up to this point, before this card, there were hints and things like that, but this is where it really becomes unbearable, I think, for both of them. And Caleb is the first one to really crack under all of that because, again, there's so much complexity in how their relationship has changed and they're trying to figure it out. And Caleb just admits it's romantic. They have romantic feelings for each other. And Hidden Waves is amazing at helping Caleb to understand that that relationship has changed and it now means they are equal partners. So no longer does he have to be her shield. He can stand beside her. And this is what MC tries to push onto him. Let me look after you. Stop carrying these burdens alone. They're a unit now. They're together. They're partners. And they're going to get through this together. And it's just a great card for Caleb in terms of his own personal healing journey. That boy has so much trauma, and I think he is starting to heal, and it's through his relationship with MC and the trust and love they have between each other. Next is Raphael. My favourite cards for Raphael are Gem Affection, Intertidal Zone, and Omnipotent Perception. So the reason I love all of these three cards is not for what you're all thinking, which is the spice of it all. We actually learn a lot about Raphael, and I actually think as a Lemurian, he's got so much more depth to him than we will ever discover. And these cards just give us a glimpse into that, into the depths of Raphael's soul, essentially. He is passionate and he is a creative, but it's so deeply woven into who he is as a Lemurian as well, and all of the trauma he has faced in his life. You know, the way I view Raphael is he is fragmented and he is in pieces, and he only gives you the pieces he wants you to see in certain moments. So in Intertidal Zone and Omnipotent Perception especially, he only gives MC fragments of himself. And then he hides himself away again. But she's had glimpses into who he really is. And I think it's really expertly done in all of these cards. The passionate side of things, I think it can only culminate in how Raphael expresses his love for MC, and it is through intimacy. And it feels very natural for him to do that. As a Lemurian, again, he feels very deeply, very strongly, and he has that bond with MC that is just deep and unbreakable and, you know, strong and powerful. Those are my favorite Raphael cards. And then for Xavier, I have one ultimate favorite that has never been beaten. And I was a Xavier main for about a week because of this card. And that's Floral Blessing. I cannot explain how Xavier made me feel in that card. He was the epitome of like a perfect boyfriend. And yeah, I was the Xavier main for a week because of him in that card and how he acted and how he was. And yeah, I don't know. It made me feel a lot of things. But yeah, that's my favorite because I just thought it was a phenomenal card. So yeah, we'll be here forever if I keep talking about this. So those are all of my favorite cards for all of the different love interests as of now. So thank you for that question. That's a great question. Great question. May I ask for a personal headcanon of yours for any of the love interests? You may. So, because this is a multiverse story, I've actually created my own kind of headcanon story. And basically, Lucina, right here, Lucina, this gal, she is with Zayn. Zayn is her main love interest in the main story. And she has relationships with all of the other guys, but they're not romantic relationships. So, for example, Silas has an unrequited love for Lucina. Raphael is her best friend. Xavier is her work colleague who she depends on, and her neighbor who she, goes over and plays games with a lot. And Caleb, obviously coming back, she's a little bit distant from. And that's just my own personal headcanon for them. And I created different love interests for all of the guys that exist within this main story. So they're not different MCs, they're different characters. I figured, you know what, I've got a character creator, I can create my own characters as part of a story, so I did. One of my favorite characters that I've created is Zafira. She is Silas's love interest, and she starts off the game being fed the wrong information that Silas was responsible for the death of her entire family. So she wants to find him to kill him. She's a dancer. She has a very traumatic background. She's also mute, so she doesn't talk. And as you can see, she's got heterochromia. And there is a reason for that as part of her story. One of those eyes isn't real. And I thought that Silas would be the perfect partner for her because of her trauma and her background. He can navigate that quite well and treat her the way she needs to be treated. And because they start off as enemies to lovers, when I'm playing their stories and when I'm playing the stories of the game, it kind of makes sense the way she acts at the beginning, quite defensive around him. But she's one of my favorites. Because she's mute, they communicate telepathically because they actually have a soul connection. So I've kind of taken the story of Love and Deepspace and just kind of changed it slightly for my headcanon story. It's so great, guys, because these are like our Barbie dolls that we can do whatever we want with. And I love headcanons, and I love reading different people's interpretations and stories and headcanons. I adore them. But yeah, I've got a whole different universe with all these different characters. So yeah, one day I might do a video on it if I want to share it. I might share some of my writing someday, but yeah. So thank you for that question. I've got a whole ass universe of my own. My friends actually called it the Lucinaverse, which is really funny because obviously it's Lucina's universe and all of these things are happening in it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you guys haven't done it and you're in a creative rut, not just with Love and Deepspace, but take any game. I used to do it with Baldur's Gate 3 because it was the easiest thing to do. But create characters and make your own stories within that story and just experiment. And it really does help with any writer's block you have. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. But thank you so much for that question. Great question. So next question. Have you been into Otome games before? And if so, what games have you played? And I mentioned this earlier, but I've played many other Otome games before. So I mentioned Voltage Inc. in my first answer. Those were the first Otome games I played. So some of my favourite ones from them were Star-Crossed Myth, Pirates in Love, Enchanted in the Moonlight, Scandal in the Spotlight, and In Your Arms Tonight. Those were my standout favourites. I've also played Obey Me and Mystic Messenger on the mobile, and also the Ikumen games. I've played a few of them as well, and I really enjoyed them. So those are my favourite mobile Otome games I've played. Now, some of my all-time faves, which I've played on either the PC, Switch, PS Vita, whichever other console, include the Hakuyoki series. Definitely one of my all-time favourite series. Nameless, The One Thing You Must Recall. This is by the same company that made Mystic Messenger, just FYI. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. It's a great game. Color X Malice, Amnesia Memories, Love Spell Written in the Stars, and Olympia Soiree. So those are some of my favorites that I've played. And I've got a huge backlog, like I said, of other Otome games I need to play, but these are the ones that definitely stood out to me. By the way, that doesn't mean I haven't played other Otome games. It's just that I probably wasn't a big fan of them. So for example, I really wanted to like Diabolic Lovers, and I just couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm hugely into vampire mythology, and I love any takes on it that are interesting. And I think it was an interesting take, but unfortunately, it didn't grab me the way I wanted to be grabbed. Do you play any other games besides Love and Deepspace? Yes, I do. I'm a huge gamer. So I have a lot of love for RPGs, mainly JRPGs and TTRPGs and open world games. And I play these mostly on the PS5 and PC. So for me, one of the greatest games that has ever come out just has to be Baldur's Gate 3. The scope of Baldur's Gate 3 is insane. the fact that years later I am still discovering things about that game that I didn't know existed is so impressive. They did so much with that game, and I can't even conceptualize how they did it and how we're still discovering things. Just the replayability of that game is off the charts. If you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, please do give it a try. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Now, my favorite series also include the Persona series, mainly 3, 4, and 5, my favorite games. Final Fantasy, starting from Final Fantasy 7. Every Fire Emblem game under the sun. I've played all of them. I love them. Games like Triangle Strategy, Octopath Traveler, and Bravely Default as well are some standout games that I've played recently that I love. And also, I've got to make a big shout out to Ace Attorney. I adore that series so much. It means so much to me. I am dying for another game. I need another Ace Attorney game so bad. Another series that I really enjoy that I think you guys might enjoy if you haven't played it is the Life is Strange series. Excellent, excellent series. Definitely check it out. And if you've played it before, it won't be surprising to you that I love it. And finally, Spider-Man holds a very special place in my heart. So the new Spider-Man games, especially since Miles Morales was introduced into the Spider-Verse, yeah, I just love it. It means a lot. So yeah, there are a lot of other games that I love besides Otome games, and I love to play them. So definitely check some of those out if you're interested. And thank you for the question. So, next question. Do you think Love and Deepspace has any plot holes? So, this is a hard one to answer because with a game that's literally being told in fragments, like the way time has become so messed up in it, anything that seems like a plot hole now could get easily resolved within the next branch update or the next card updates or whatever. So, I do think that any questions about the story that we have are going to be answered. And I can only wait till after the main story is done to then go, actually, there have been several plot holes. So I do have a lot of questions about a lot of things, especially about Lemuria and Lemurian law. One thing that I noticed in, I think it was Omnipotent Perception, was MC was reading a book about Lemurian history. And it said all humans or civilizations started in Lemuria, or were Lemurians or something. And I had a big question about that. So that's something that, for example, I would love to know more about, but I feel like those questions will get answered. So, great question, by the way, but I don't think I can say for certain until the main story finishes, and then I can look back and go, okay, yeah, there are things that still haven't been answered. So, thank you very much for that question. Next question. Congrats, Maz. Do you know about the Astra is Zayn theory? What do you think of it? First of all, thank you so much. And second of all, yes, I have seen that theory. Now, whilst I think it's a credible theory and is a great interpretation of Zayn's story, I personally do not subscribe to it. The reason I don't subscribe to it is because I feel like there has been enough evidence to suggest that there is a divine realm. Now, stick with me on this one. I'm going to try not to take too long, and I might do another video just explaining this theory in more detail. Even though I said I'd never do theory crafting videos, when it comes to Zayn, I could talk for ages about Zayn. But anyway, right, get back on track, Maz. So, the reason I think that Astra and Zayn are two separate people is because in Raphael's myth, we actually meet all of the other sea gods that came before Raphael. So therefore, there is a divine realm somewhere. In Snow's Embrace, we actually learn of this divine realm. So the old man comes to Zayn and he says, Your Grace. Your Grace is a title that is referred to a duke or duchess. This then made me wonder, well, who are Zayn's parents in this divine realm? Who created Zayn? Where did Zayn come from? Because he's referred to as a duke in it. So I started to wonder, is there some kind of family dynamic going on here? Is Astra actually a relation to Zayn in the divine realm? And there's this hierarchy of power going on within it. And Zayn has rejected his role effectively because he fell in love with MC. And For me, this explained a lot about Astra's anger underneath the surface, why he wants to eliminate MC, not just because she's a variable and, she threatens his existence, in my opinion, but also the fact that potentially his son or his relation has fallen in love with her and completely abandoned his duties. And he blames her for this. So I started to wonder about this family dynamic and whether Zayn could be Astra's son. Now, this used to be a crackpot theory of mine, but after the little boy entered the main story, I started to wonder about this because the little boy is really close with Zayn in a way. He's very familiar with Zayn, and the way he acts reminds me of a little brother. Now, remember what MC said about the little boy? The little boy looks like Zayn. Now, some people remarked it could be like a part of Zayn that he left behind, and I really like that theory as well, that Zayn left a part of him behind in the fractal library so he could figure out a way to save MC in the current timeline. But ultimately, I figured because he knows about Astra and he's so adamant to get Zayn back into the fractal library and take on his role as administrator, is because he is part of that hierarchy as well. So he's a duke as well himself, or he's a god himself as well. So I just started to wonder about Baizi as well, because Baizi in Snow's Embrace disappears at the end with Zayn. So MC loses her divine powers and she can no longer sense the divine realm. So she is kind of stuck in the mortal world. She doesn't know where Baizi went, as well as Zayn. Now, we see Baizi again in the main story, and he's with the little boy. Now, that's why I think a lot of people went, ooh, this has got to be a version of Zayn, right? Because Baizi follows Zayn. I don't think so. I think Baizi was following the little boy because he is originally part of their family. He's part of the divine realm and he hangs around with Zayn's family a lot because he likes Zayn's family. So there's a lot going on there, and honestly, this is going to be too long of an answer. But I subscribe more to the theory that there's some kind of family dynamic of some kind going on. Also, I'm just going to leave you with one final thing. In Moonlit Dream, Zayn actually says his parents didn't approve of his and MC's relationship, so they ran away and eloped. Now, I'm just thinking, guys, that could be foreshadowing, but it's a reach. That entire theory of mine is a reach, and I will admit it's a bit crackpot. I've not heard anyone really suggest this, but it was something that was in the back of my mind. I don't expect it to be true. I expect Astra to just be a divine being who has a lot of power within the Love and Deepspace universe. He is tied to Zayn because Zayn is the one who is supposed to be Master of Fate. He is supposed to exact his fate of eliminating MC, so he's trying to push Zayn to do that. And I think Astra is scared of MC because she threatens his existence. Now, whether there is a family dynamic between that, whether there is something more sinister underneath that, I think it would relate to the fact that Astra would be very upset that MC took his son away from his rightful role, and MC's very existence caused Zayn to abandon his duties, and he's very upset about that. So he has personal beef with MC. So that would explain that side of things for me as well, but yeah. Anyway, to answer you, yes, I've heard of the theory, but personally for me, no, I think there's something else going on. However, I would not be upset if that's the direction that Infold went with this. I genuinely would not be upset at all. I find it very interesting, but I don't think I've seen enough evidence in the game myself that leads me to believe we're going in that direction. But then again, who knows? We'll see in his next myth. I really hope in his next myth we learn more about Astra. I need to know more about Astra. I think we all do. But yeah. Thank you very much for that question. Sorry this answer was so long, but when I start yapping about Zayn, I really yap. So thank you so much. This next one isn't a question, but a funny comment. Random fact about the sixth love interest, Cyberspace Maz. Can I just say, if I was a love interest, I would be the worst love interest in the world because I would not stop flirting with all of the guys. Like, it would be terrible, guys. But that's a really cute comment. Thank you for that. Next question. What is your dream banner concept? I love this question because I put this in all the surveys. So, my dream banner concept, and before you roll your eyes, there is a reason for this. My dream banner concept is a very dark and gothic vampire legend banner. I want to see Zayn as a struggling priest-like figure who has been turned and is trying to fight against this new nature of his and his thirst, as a pious man and also somebody who's just hungry and wants to bite the necks of innocent humans. I just think that's such an interesting concept. And one of my favorite movies, Thirst, actually does this exact story. And I just want to see Zayn in that role and see how he would deal with it. And I think that would be fascinating. Also, Silas is very obviously a vampire lord. I would love to see him as that. Xavier, I'd see as a vampire hunter who gets turned, and then MC's got to figure out, her feelings for him, but also the fact she has to get rid of him. And yeah, adds a really interesting dynamic to their relationship there. And with Caleb and Raphael, I'd love for them to explore a hybrid of like a vampire and cyborg and a vampire and mermaid. I think that would be so, so interesting to explore. Again, that's just like my dream banner concept. Now, when I say vampire, guys, I'm not talking about pop culture vampires. I'm talking about real dark gothic vampires from, European legend. So think Vlad the Impaler style, think Nosferatu and old school Dracula, that kind of thing. Really going into the depths of like darkness here. It's not something I think they'll do, but then again, tomorrow's Catch-22 happened, so anything is possible. But yeah, in terms of other banner concepts I'd love to see, pirates and a kind of Western medieval inspired setting, as knights and princesses and things like that. Although we did get that with Xavier's myth, so I don't know. But yeah, definitely a pirate banner would be really fun as well. But those are just some, fun ones. I know it's not very original, but that's kind of what I'd love to see. I think they could do a lot with it. But yeah, great question. Thank you for that. What memories made you laugh so hard you couldn't breathe? Oh, I love this question. Okay. So, personally for me, I think Silas is the funniest love interest. His brand of humor is so funny to me. And I often laugh really hard at a lot of the conversations he and MC have. And his Tomorrow's Catch-22 story had me in tears laughing at the part where he's like, wake up, someone's here to kill you, wake up, someone's here to kill me. I was howling. It was so funny. And then there's that phone call that he has with MC where he finds out that MC wants him to talk to kids about safety, and he's like, what? Like, me, the leader of Anakinus, you want me to talk to a bunch of kids about safety? And it's just really funny. There are a lot of funny moments with Silas and MC, and they often make me laugh out loud. So yeah, for me personally, he is the funniest love interest. But yeah, Tomorrow's Catch-22 made me laugh so hard. It was so funny and just so out of pocket, but made so much sense as well. And I think it's just the delivery of the lines, Silas's English VA, the way he delivers the lines, wake up, someone's here to kill you, wake up, someone's here to kill me. It was just so funny. But yeah, I think that's my favorite. But yeah, they've made me laugh so hard. So yeah, thanks for that question. That's a really fun question. A lot of Raphael mains seem to see themselves in him. Why do you think that is? And it's this common with the other love interests? You know what? I think it's common throughout all stories, whether it's a game you're playing, a movie you're watching, a TV show, a book, whatever it is, there is always a character you're going to relate to. And I think that's because we want to root for characters that we relate to, that we see ourselves in, because we want to believe that everything's going to be okay. So a lot of the time, I think it's a case of watching how those characters we see ourselves in deal with the things that are thrown at them. And we want to believe we are capable of also dealing with life in hard situations that way and believing there's a happy ending for all of us and things like that. So I think it's definitely common with the other love interests. I think it's common with all characters. And I think it comes from a place of us wanting to, find a character to latch on to that we can root for, that we see ourselves in, and just learn from them, I guess. And I think that's, again, major props to the writing teams behind every character who somebody has related to, and being able to, deconstruct who they are and how they would react to certain situations. And, that's what makes good characters. If they're not relatable in any way, I don't think it's the end of the world. So, for example, Succession, I relate to none of those characters, but I think it's one of the best character-driven TV shows we've had in a long time, because I found them all, I didn't like any of them, but I was still half rooting for Tom because there were some scenes in which I felt like Tom. I felt like I understood why he felt so sad, and all of a sudden I wanted him to become CEO. And, you know, it's how writers are able to give us pieces of ourselves within characters like that, and tell us everything's going to be okay. And, we can navigate through life the way these characters do. I don't know what I'm saying really, but yeah, that was a great question, by the way. But yeah, I think it's very common, because I guarantee you, a lot of you have related to characters in animes, TV shows, movies, etc., not just Love and Deepspace. So yeah, thanks for that question. Again, great question. Could you share why Zayn is your favourite? As a fellow Zayn girly, what drew you to him? What I love about Zayn is how selfless he is. He took on the role of a cardiac surgeon, and I know he did it for MC, but I think he really wanted to help people, and I think he wanted to save people. He knew he had the skills to do it, so he wanted to do good in the world. And it also means he puts himself through the trauma of losing patients as well. And we see this in one of his tender moments where he loses a child patient, and MC has to be there for him, and she's trying to figure out how to make him feel better. And she does in the end, and it really strengthens that relationship between them. We've also seen him spend time with children patients as well in the hospital to make them feel less scared. And he just has this very caring nature about him. And it makes you really feel close to him and feel like he is a reliable partner. He's reliable, strong, he is caring, he will do his best for everyone. And I just think that's such a wonderful person to have in your life. And yeah, there's I could go on, and I don't want this answer to be this long, but there are so many things about Zayn that I love. One of the things that I really love about him is in the Bond story of Frozen Promise, when he realizes during the conversation at the restaurant that MC thought the seals he gave her were snowballs and that he was teasing her when they were children. He waits until they're outside. He doesn't embarrass her in the restaurant by saying you were wrong. He waits until they're outside, and then he creates a seal for her and gives it to her as a gift and says, don't mistake this for a snowball this time. And it's really sweet that he waits until then and he doesn't want to embarrass her. He frames it as a gift. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed that. I just thought that was adorable and sweet and told me so much about Zayn. And yeah, obviously physical intimacy is hugely important personally for me in a relationship. And I just love the fact that Zayn is very physically intimate with MC a lot, and he's very bold now. So I'm really glad that he's got to that point. He's all around just my ideal type of person within the game. There's so much I could talk about with Zayn, but yeah, thank you so much for that question. And I might do a video in the future on why I personally love Zayn. I could talk about him for hours. All right. Moving on from the Love and Deepspace questions, I've got a few other questions that I'm going to answer. So, when are you going to upload your unboxing video with your VIP box? I'm so sorry about this one, guys, but I haven't even opened the box. It's because I don't have anywhere currently where I live to actually display my Love and Deepspace merch. And also, we're going to be moving. So I'm figuring out where I'd like to display all my merch and stuff from all my favorite things. And Love and Deepspace will be one of them. And that's when I'll do the unboxing videos. So I don't know when that will be because we're still waiting to find out. You guys know what buying a house is like. So yeah, I will let you guys know when I'm going to be doing that one. In addition to YouTube, where can we follow your content on other social media? It's only YouTube that I have, so I don't have any other social media accounts. I used to have Twitter and I used to have Blue Sky and Tumblr and all of the social media accounts, but that was years ago. And now I just don't have enough time to post on them, and it was kind of useless keeping them. So it's just YouTube that I have and my posts on YouTube. So sorry about that, but hope that's okay with you. And to the next question, to the person asking to send fan art, first of all, I'm so flattered that you have fan art and you can just email it to me. So, guys, if you have anything you want to send me or any personal things that you want to let me know about, please just email my Cyberspace Maz business email and I will or will not get back to you. If I don't get back to you, please don't be offended. It's just that I've got a lot going on and sometimes it's very difficult with all the emails I get to kind of keep on top of them. And I'm really, really sorry about that. I will try my best. But yeah, please email me your fan art, anything like that. I have had people send me fanfics that have been inspired by my videos, which is so sweet. And honestly, I really love to hear about them. So yeah, please send me anything like that on my email. Thank you so much. That's such a sweet question. I never expected that kind of thing, but thank you so much. Do you have a Patreon or merch or plans for that? I don't have a Patreon or merch or anything. I would love to like give you guys merch and stuff, but I don't even know where to begin with that really. So I'll let you guys know if I ever do in the future, but right now just watching my videos all the way through is the best support you can give me. And commenting on my videos, sharing them, doing whatever you can. That supports my channel. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys doing that, and that's how you can support me right now. And in the future, if I ever have the time to set up a Patreon or do, figure out what merch I want to give you guys, yeah, I'll let you guys know. But let me know in the comments if there's anything in particular you'd like to see from me, like in terms of merch or anything. Like, I'm more than happy to take suggestions. Kind of blows my mind still that someone is asking that, but yeah, no plans right now, but I'd love to in future if I had the time to kind of organize and sort that out. But we'll see. If you expand your content beyond just Love and Deepspace, what would be the first thing you would probably start with? So, I will be expanding my content beyond Love and Deepspace. And to give you an idea of what that's going to look like, I will be deconstructing my favorite TV shows and movies. So, TV shows right now that I am obsessed with include Severance, one of the greatest TV shows to come out in like 20 years or something. I think it is phenomenal. Also, Interview with the Vampire. I think that's one of the greatest dark fantasy shows we've had on in a long, long time. Also, Bridgerton. I'm really excited for the next season because Benedict is my favourite character and I cannot wait to see him fall in love. And I've heard really good things about his book, so I'm really excited to see if the next season will live up to the hype of that. Also, I'll be doing a retrospective look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer before the reboot comes out. I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer growing up, and I'm so excited for the reboot. So, yeah, there's a lot of things I plan to do and want to do, and I'll probably kind of switch between, video essay style videos and commentary style videos. I'm just trying to figure out kind of who I am on here. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to forever stop doing Love and Deepspace or gaming videos. I will still talk about whatever I want to talk about. So thank you so much for that question, and I really can't wait to expand my content and show you just how deep my analyses can go. If you could do any body modifications like a cyborg arm or have a siren's voice, what would you do? Ooh, what an interesting question. So I remember way back when I had a very similar conversation with a friend of mine, and I think I said something like, I want my eyes to be able to take photographs and videos. So I would want my eyes like to have that ability so I could replay all of the best moments of my life in my head and look at all of the best moments just on tap in my head. So yeah, something like that maybe. I don't know, something like that. Yeah. What an interesting question. I'm going to be thinking about that one a lot. Yeah, what a great question. Thank you. And also thank you so much for your comment. By the way, everyone who has said really nice things about my videos getting you into Love and Deepspace or making you appreciate the characters, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. But yeah, thank you for that question. It's a great question. If you could make your own Otome game, what would the premise be and what kind of love interest would you create? What an interesting question. I kind of am and am not writing one. I guess I started writing one a couple of years ago and I've still got it in my drafts. I had some initial character designs written up. I learned to code a little bit as well, but I'm a perfectionist and yeah, I just couldn't finish it because I wanted to do so much with it. I wanted cutscenes and everything, and you know what I mean? Like I got too overly into it. One day I may pick it up again, but yeah, it would border on very dark fantasy, but it would give people the choice of which route they want to go down. How dark do you want this story to be? And you create that darkness within yourself and you decide where you want it to go. It was that kind of thing. So think Touch Starved. That's a great example. Think Touch Starved. But yeah, one day I may complete it and share it with you guys. I don't know. But yeah, I've for years I've wanted to create one and I started to and then I just kind of I didn't give up, I just put it on the back burner. But if you guys are interested, let me know. Let me know if you'd actually pay for a game from me. I don't know. But yeah, great question. Oh, what kind of love interests? Again, like think dark fantasy. So think Silas and Caleb, but darker and more twisted, probably. But you know, you'd balance it out with characters like Zayn, Xavier, and Raphael, definitely. But even they're quite complicated. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for that question. That's a great question. Okay, here's where we get some really strange questions. If your YouTube channel had a smell, what would it be? Um, First of all, are you okay? Second of all, probably Jasmine's. You guys know why. But yeah, you're fun, whoever asks that, you're fun. Say something mysterious like you're in a horror movie trailer. Ooh, okay, okay, okay. I'm thinking back to all of the things I've written in the past. Hmm. Okay, how about this one? You can ignore the whispers, but they will not ignore you. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. Oh, that was fun. Thank you for that question. That was super fun. Okay, but think about this. If you could eat one color for the rest of your life, what would it be? Again, are you okay? um okay, periwinkle. I don't know. It seems like the most like interesting color and the one that would least make me feel bad after eating it. I don't know. Yeah, periwinkle. I don't know. I just like the color and I wouldn't mind eating it. I don't know. What about you? Anyone, everyone, leave in the comments below what color would you eat if you had to for the rest of your life? I don't know. Oh, this is where the questions are starting to get a bit funny, but yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks. Can you do your best evil laugh impression? Okay, I've got two different kinds. I've got the camp, over the top kind, and I've got one that I would genuinely do if I was an actress and told to do an evil laugh. So here's the over the top camp one that you're all going to be expecting because it's a typical one. Okay, so that's my first one. And you know, the only other evil thing I can think of is a queen, an evil queen. Um, Oh, hang on, witches as well. I don't know. Hang on, let me have a think. Because I can do an evil witch cackle if you want. So, a generic evil witch cackle that goes, or I can do like the queen who thinks she's above everyone and finds everyone so amusing. So something like, oh, you peasant. Something like that. I don't know. But I'm not a voice actress, okay? And everything that comes out of my mouth is so generic. But yeah, thanks for that question. That was fun. What is the most diabolical, evil looking food combo that you have ever seen? Easy. Pineapple on pizza. I'm sorry for those of you that love it. It just does not make me feel good looking at that. I want it off the screen. Get it off the screen now. Oh, sorry if you enjoy it, but no, it's a no from me. How long do you think you would last in a horror movie? Not very long. Straight up, not very long. I would be probably one of the first people to get axed. Whether it was a killer horror movie or a ghost horror movie where evil things are happening, whether it was like an apocalyptic thing or whether it was, vampire zombie, whatever it was, I just know I would not do well. I want to say, oh yeah, I'd last until like the very last part of the movie, but no, I wouldn't. I would be gone very quickly. I'm too kind, I think. I'm too understanding, and I would try to understand the motivations of the person trying to kill everyone or the creature trying to kill everyone or something, and that would get me gone within the first like 10 minutes because I'd be like, "Oh, you poor thing, tell me all about your trauma." And no, they would not. So yeah, I wouldn't last very long. If you had to delete every app from your phone but could only keep 3, which ones would you keep? So this is interesting because I don't use my phone that much for apps. So this is actually a really easy question to answer. I'd keep Shazam because when I'm out and about and I hear music that I love, I have to know what it is. So Shazam would stay on my phone. YouTube would stay on my phone so that I could watch TV shows, listen to music, watch movies, watch my favorite YouTubers. Basically, YouTube has everything I need in terms of entertainment, so I'd keep that. And then Discord, because I would need to chat to my friends about what I'm missing in the world of social media. So, it would probably be those 3, to be honest. And also, they could keep me up to date with the news as well. So, yeah, those 3 would be the apps I'd keep. Did you have any funny things happen to you while filming / going through the video making process? Of course, my voiceovers are ridiculous because I often mess up, as many people who do voiceovers will know, and you make funny noises when you do. So I might stumble when saying something and then I'll make a really funny noise. So I'll give you guys an example. So I could be running through a sentence and I'll be like making my point. So hang on, let me go with so I think Zayn is this really incredible, interesting, and that's what will happen if I lose my train of thought or anything. I'll make a funny noise like that. So yeah, it happens. It happens to everyone, and it certainly happens to me. Is your real name Lucina? Such a pretty name. It's not Lucina. That is the name of my MC, and she is the name of a Fire Emblem character too. I just thought it was a very beautiful name as well. So yeah, thanks for that question. Lucina is not my real name, and neither is Maz. Next question. Did you ever feel scared about sharing your writing? If so, how did you defeat that fear? Do you have any advice for aspiring but scared writers? Absolutely. So my first question to you would be, what are you scared of? So I think going beyond being scared of being judged for your writing, I think what you have is a fear of being misunderstood. Because through our writing, we expose a lot of who we are as people. So when somebody insults our writing or even anything creative that we do, we can take it personally. Now, I've definitely felt that in the past before, for sure. But what I've learned is that that fear never really goes away. You just get stronger than it. So, your voice deserves to exist in the world. Everything that you create as a creative, it deserves to be seen, it deserves to be heard, it deserves to be read. And there will be people who feel less alone because of your creative work. I guarantee you. Because when I was writing those terrible fanfics when I was a teenager, I got emails from people and they were guys, they were terrible, like really bad. But I got emails from people, and I remember one girl who was like, please, please, please finish your fanfic because it's the only thing keeping me going because I'm moving soon and I won't have any internet. And oh my God, when I got that email, my heart broke. And I realized there was at least one person out there who loved my writing and loved the story I'd created. And that's so important to remember. So even if there are loads of people going, this is terrible, I don't like it, it doesn't matter because there will be people who do, and they're the ones that really matter to you. They're the ones you want to look at. They're the ones who are going to amplify you. But more than anything, it's about that connection that you've given them, because put it this way, the words that you're most afraid to put out there as a writer are often the words that someone out there needs to hear the most. So that's what I always try to remember. And yeah, I think you'll get there, absolutely. If you want more practical advice, I would say if you have social media accounts of any kind, just share snippets of your work. So, you know how artists will share work in progresses and things like that? Do that and just see what people say and see if you get any feedback from it. And that can help build your confidence a lot and also help steer you in the right direction with your writing. Also, if you guys want to send anything my way, please feel free. Like I said before, I get a lot of emails, but I would love to help out any aspiring writers. But yeah, remember, guys, I'm a writer, but I'm not published yet. And I'm 10 years into my own novel. So, you know, but yeah, I'm more than happy to review anything you've written and just give you a little bit of a confidence boost, but also some constructive criticism if you really want to hear it, as somebody who is a consumer reading your work and, what I feel about it and stuff. So, yeah, thank you for that question. I really hope all of that helped. I'm sorry if it didn't, but that would be my advice. Okay, guys, I think we're about an hour into this video, so I am unfortunately going to have to wrap it up. By the way, you guys asked so many interesting questions that I may actually do another video addressing some of them because honestly, you guys have some amazing, interesting questions that, I could only dream of asking my favorite content creators. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to ask your questions. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. Now, I just want to say one thing. I've got a very exciting collaboration coming up in my next video. I'm so excited about it. My next video is also going to take a slightly different approach to the way I normally do my videos. You'll see what I mean. And it's a subject matter that is, to me, very interesting and something I haven't really seen people talk about, especially when it comes to visual novel games. So there's a little hint there about what I might be talking about. But yeah, thank you so much once again. I'm really glad to be back. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a beautiful time zone. And of course, as always, stay frosty.